What's popping? What's good? What's good? What's good? What's going on? We got Kelim in the building. Rashidi should be on his way.
Peace. What's going on?
Yeah, man. So we're talking about student loans today. So what's the thoughts on that, man? What's that about? Tell us all the things.
I mean, also for starters, right? We got to all know that when it comes to student loans, first of all, it's like it's record breaking when it comes to student loans. Like now these days, like
Right.
it's one of the biggest forms of debt in this country right now. It's student loans, right? So it's a question of like how people paying back these student loans.
Right.
Do they have are they on the right payment plan? Because depending on what plan that you have, it's based upon how much you're paying back based upon the interest rate that you're getting on that loan, and there's of course different types of loans that a person can have when they go to school. And a lot of times, I mean, it's sad to say, but how things are designed, right, is designed to where like you're pretty much going to pay off that student loan pretty much for the rest of your life, almost, for most people. Like you'll probably reach retirement age by the time you finish paying off your student loans, right? You're supposed to pay it off by the time you start your career, but for the most part, that's not the case these days.
Right.
Especially with inflation, right? So, I mean, there's different types of student loans that we have. We have subsidized loans, we have unsubsidized loans, we have plus loans, and we have consolidation loans. So these are different types of loans that people take out when they go to school. Different interest rates based upon, like I said, what type of loan that you have. Right. And in general, you just want to know, yes, you want to take out a student loan, but sometimes it may or may not make sense depending on what career or what field that you go into. Is that career going to make you money when you get out of school? These are different things that you got to ask yourself, because if not, then what's the point of taking out a loan? Right. And depending on what state you live in too, it may vary on what that loan can do for you. There's different programs that these loans come with now these days versus back in the days that before. So there's different programs that these loans have that you can make sure that you get when you go to school. Because at the end of the day, the idea is to go to school, right? Get a career. But if you have to take out a student loan, you want to be able to pay off that student loan within a certain amount of years, so it doesn't impact you in a negative way. But a lot of times it's not like that. However, with RKT Real Estate and Finance, we're partnered with a debt solution company. So we can help you pay off that loan 2 to 3 times faster by cutting your debt in half. So if you are paying off a student loan right now, and when I say you have to be paying off that loan, if you are paying off that loan, we can possibly put you in a better position to where you can get that debt cut in half, and you'll pay off that loan 2 to 3 times faster.
Crazy. So you're saying that some people might not necessarily need to even get a loan for their when they're doing their stuff, but what happens to the people they get a loan, they can't pay it back? How much does that affect their credit? Because I know you always talk about the credit. How does that affect it?
Oh, 100%. It's definitely going to affect your credit tremendously. It will affect your credit if you don't pay back the student loans. It will. One thing with credit, you could always build it back up, but you don't want to, have a bad history with credit. So it is best to pay off those student loans as fast as you can. However, it's a little unrealistic for a lot of people to pay it off that quickly. So that's why they have these programs that and like I said, me and Rashidi are partnered with a debt solution company that can help individuals pay off their loans a lot faster, because it's unrealistic for an individual to pay off that loan and still keep up with their monthly expenses and their bills that they have, on a regular, on a day-to-day basis. He says, I got $5,500 left on mine. I mean, that's not bad. I mean, we could usually help someone. Did I say 5,500, 55,000, or 5,500? Okay. Yeah, that's not that bad. Anything less than, I want to say 7,000, 7,500. They look. The company that we're partnered with, they look at it as if you can pay that off within due time. Anything more than 7,500, we can help you with. Anything less than that, they look at it as you're on the right track. You can pay that off on your own.
Right.
Okay, so certified Tyrone, you're on the right track.
Yeah, 75 and under, you're on 7,500 and under, you're on the right track.
Okay.
You know?
So he said people should have taken advantage of COVID when the interest rate was 0. So what's that about?
Yeah, because I mean, when this person, who is this? Shout out to Certified Tyrone. Yes, during the time of COVID, interest rates were at 0, so it's like you were just basically paying the principal on the money at that time.
Wow.
On your loan. So versus you paying off the interest. So yeah, that was a good time to be paying it off at a lot. But see, think about it like this: they get you where they can get you. Because why, when COVID happens, you want to drop the interest rate to 0? A lot of people are not focused on their loans at that time because the world was in a disarray. People were worried about not getting sick and trying to stay alive versus paying off a student loan. You know, even though it's still priority and it's still a bill for a lot of people. You know, they're even saying now that when it comes to loans, there's a lot of there's like the student forgiveness loan. You know, I don't know, and that's a question that I feel like a lot of people have to ask themselves. I'm not saying not to pay up your loan. Pay up your student loans if you can, right? But there's a lot of loans that are forgiven, and maybe you can qualify for that loan. I would advise everyone to do more research on that on their own, as far as how could they qualify for a forgiveness on their loans. But I've been hearing rumors going around that they're forgiving a lot of people on their loans. The president is doing that. I mean, if they could give $100 billion to the Ukraine, I don't see why they can't forgive, a couple of students on their loans. You know what I'm saying? So
when they forgive you for the loans, is that basically you don't gotta pay it back? Like they just you're good.
In theory, yes. You don't have to pay it back.
That's
there's always a fine print and things like that, but it for the most part, that's what it is. Yes.
That's crazy. So what do you think is like a good strategy for people to pay off the loans? Should they pay like the minimum? Should they try to pay more? Like what's your thoughts on this?
It really depends. Okay, so what I would say is this. I wouldn't say go broke for paying off your student loans, right? I would say depending, because you have to also know what's the duration of your loan. Like how long do you have to pay off that loan? So like let's say if you got 10 years or 10 years to pay off the loan, right? You got a loan for $100,000. That means that, at least you should be paying off $10,000 a year, right? So at that point, you could break it down to where it becomes a bill. You know what I'm saying? So it's not that bad as far as you paying it off. So it just depends on the length of your loan and how long would it take you to pay it off, whether it makes sense to the amount that you should be putting towards that loan every month or quarterly or however you're making that payment. It also depends on the lifestyle that you're living after you finish school. Do you have children? Or are you married with kids, or are you just are you a bachelor by yourself? How are you living your life at that point? So all of those things play a factor. I would look at it like this: those loans aren't going anywhere. So you just got to be smart and kind of budget properly, because if you really think about it, those loans are going to be there. Like I said, you're going to be pretty old once you finish paying off those loans. Unless you have a nice huge come up, those loans ain't going nowhere. So I wouldn't spend my last dollar on it, but at the same time, I would still keep it as priority to be paid off. Because like I said, it does affect your credit, and the credit pretty much is, you can do a lot with credit, especially here in America. So I would definitely pay attention to that.
So how much percentage of, like, let's say like a person has $100,000 loan, they got to pay back, right? How much would you say a month a person should pay back in order to keep their credit good? You understand what I'm saying? Like, is there a certain amount, or is it just like the fact that they're paying if their credit's good? It doesn't matter how much they're paying.
I wouldn't say there's a dollar amount, as long as you're making those payments on time. That's really what it's about,
right?
Because everybody's dollar amount is different. So as long as you're paying it off on time, then you should be good to go.
Right.
Is there any way to reduce your monthly payment? Like, let's just say you get on hard times, can you holler at the loan people and be like, look, I can't pay $250 a month, but I can pay $200 a month. Like, can you do that?
Absolutely. Because the thing is, there's always deals that you can work out. Most people don't realize that yes, these are companies, but there's still people running the companies, right? So they could always make adjustments. But a lot of times, people they're not responsible enough to even make that phone call to say, oh, this will be late, or I won't be able to pay this amount at this specific time. Could I get a waiver, or can you maybe double up on the next payment, or things of that nature? People won't do that. So then what happens is they'll wait. Let's say if the payment is due on today is the 12th, right? Let's say the payment is due on tomorrow on the 13th. They'll be calling today.
Right.
So then there's no consideration to the company. So then why would they give you a break on the loan? Why would they do it? It works just like anything else. I promise you. Yes, student loans are its own entity, but when it comes to how you deal with it or how you're paying it off, it works just like anything else. Now, like I said, the most important thing to pay attention to when it comes to the student loan is the interest rate that you're getting on these loans. Right. And like I said, what are you going to school for? Are you going to school for nursing? Are you going to school to be a marine biologist? What are you going to school for? Because like I said, depending on what that is, that may change whether or not, and depending on how much the loan that you took out to go to school is for, it'll change. It's just, like I said, it's different variables.
Right. So let's say somebody's like, I don't want to take out a student loan, but I need money for school. What would be another option? Or
there's financial. I mean, there's some type of there's financial aids, different programs that people can Google and research to help them, with school, with books and tuitions, different programs that'll waive the fees of books, have discounts on the tuition itself. So you just got to really do the research, especially now more than ever. They're always recreating and reinventing themselves when it comes to these schools and these universities, when it comes to student loans. So there's always a different way to where people can, kind of capitalize in this situation. So definitely check out the different programs that they have, different sites. I can give you a couple of different types of student loans that people can use, right? Different yeah. Got you. So then they have one called, there's a few of them. There's one called College Avenue, right? There's one called Sally Mae. There's one called College Finance, another one called Earnest, another one called Ascent. These are different student loan programs that people can use. You guys can Google these programs and find out if it's suitable for you to use. And like I said, me and Rashid can help you guys out when it comes to the student loans, because we're partnered with that solution company that can help people get out of debt. Because like I said, that's the biggest form of debt in the country is student loans.
That's great. And so what happens if a person is like, fuck it, I'm not gonna pay this shit back? How does that affect their credit? How does that affect their life and all that other stuff?
I mean, it's definitely gonna affect your credit. It doesn't necessarily go away. It's something that's gonna follow you. So, that's something that even if you don't pay it off, you're really just hurting yourself in the long run. Unless their loan is forgiven, and that's why I say there are ways that you can research for student forgivable loans, right? And you can find a way to get your loan forgiven. But if you don't, if you don't get that loan, then you're still liable to pay off that loan. It's not like it disappears. So it's something that's going to eventually, in the long run, still hurt you. It's going to hurt your credit as well.
So King said, can you borrow against a whole life insurance and pay for school? What's up, Rashid? What's going on?
Absolutely. Peace. Yeah, absolutely. You can. You can borrow if you have cash in your life insurance policy. You can use that. As a matter of fact, a lot of people use their cash value from their life insurance policy to pay for school. They do that as well. Because remember, if a person gets a policy for their child when they're 2 years old, by the time the child is going to college, when they're 18, 19 years old, they done built up $40,000, $50,000 in cash. That cash can definitely help them pay for tuition for school. So yes, you can.
So Rashidi, what's going on, man? So what's your thoughts on some of this on the student loans and everything?
Yeah, man. I'm not sure what y'all went over already, but yeah, pretty much with the student loans, you definitely want to push them out as long as possible to the topic where if they're gonna cancel payments, you don't want to start making payments unnecessarily. So you want to keep deferring it out if you can defer it. On most students loans right now, I think they deferred out to like September, I think, with the last thing that passed out. So it's deferred automatically up until September. You just want to make sure they are deferred. You also want to make sure you check in and see if they're requiring any documents to lower your payments also on top of that. But to Katie's point and to the topic's point, you definitely want to make sure you continue to defer it. You continue to try to get the payments lowered if you do have to make payments. So that's a crucial thing at the end of the day. I mean, if they calculated that you owed a certain amount 3 years ago before the whole pandemic, before the whole thing, they might be having you paying $500-$600. But if they recalculate everything, you might only have to pay $200 a month. So make sure if you're out of deferment or you're forced out of deferment, to make sure have them recalculate everything so you're paying a much lower amount if you're eligible for it.
Okay. And so it says, should student loans be a point for me to not go to college? I graduate next month and I don't know what I'm doing post secondarily considering the Army. So what's your thoughts on that shit?
Wait, what's the question? What's this one saying?
Is he saying that should he not go to college because of student loans and just like?
Well, I mean, this is the thing. When it comes to student loans, my opinion, man, I mean, you don't need to be going to college if you don't know for sure you want to do that type of career. And, that's why I always recommend people to go to junior college or community college at first, because that first 2 years is general classes anyway. And it's like that second year when you start to kind of get social class and you kind of get to figure out what you really want to do. Most mistakes people make is they try to go to these 4-year schools. You don't know what you want to do. You kind of think you know what you want to do, but it's too much money at stake to go to a 4-year university and not know what you want to do. So still go to college if you want, but you go to community college where it's way cheaper. And this way you can take your time and make the right decision on what you want to do. This way you're not wasting money. But absolutely do not go to college if you have no idea. Don't do it for your parents. Don't do it just because it looks good. Don't do it because society says go to college and you need an education. Do not do any of the above, because what will happen is you're going to college, you're doing some random job, you're going to college to get some random degree, a bachelor's, which most people don't use anyway, and you only come out making $40,000 a year, wasted your time and wasted $80,000 in college tuition.
Absolutely. And I feel like now these days, it's 2023. Like Rashidi kind of piggyback off of what Rashidi was saying. You don't need to go to school, especially if you don't know what you're going to school for. Like it needs to like your goals need to be intentional. Like you need to know what you're doing, and it's okay not to know yet if you're just getting out of high school. However, because you don't know yet, I honestly wouldn't waste my time starting school in the next semester. I wouldn't do that. Also, what I would say is that considering the Army, right? That's a whole different ball game. What I would do is I would recommend that you just do your research, and I'm not the one that advocate to anyone to go to the Army. I'm being honest with you. To me, it makes no sense. I'm going to just be completely keep it 100 with you. Being honest with you, it makes no sense to go to the Army.
Chill. Hey, hold up. Yeah. We don't need no. We all patriots over here. Fuck that nigga right there.
Nah. Here's why. It makes no sense to fight for a country that doesn't believe don't believe in their citizens, right? It makes no sense to. I'm just being honest. Like it's a waste of time to go to the Army. Like it doesn't make sense. If you're not sure what to do, especially you're about. So I'm assuming because you're about to leave school, you're about 17, 18 years old. You have your whole life ahead of you.
Hold up.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Because you going into territories that could get niggas channels canceled. I'm serious. We might have World War III next week. So
then why would we send this kid? Give this kid?
No. Here's what I'm saying. Since he's already talking about going to the Army or considering the Army, I was gonna, and I'm surprised none of y'all said it, but is there still the GI Bill, or am I crazy? Is that just something from the?
No, that's what I was gonna say. So this is the thing. So Katie's point, I get it. You know what I mean? You don't want to go in the army willy-nilly because you are government's property.
Patriotic, but fuck that. Don't go to the army, bro.
But this is the thing. You do got. This is the thing.
I'm letting you know. Don't go.
Listen, this is the thing about it, though. At the end of the day, you are government property for 4 years at minimum in terms of you have to follow their rules and regulations. With that said, there are multiple financial benefits of going.
Oh, see,
property. What do I got? 1, the GI Bill, 2 Miles Point. They pay for all your education, so you have no school debt.
Right.
2, you are kind of in a little community where once you get out, if you're actually okay and you don't have mental issues, things of that nature, they do find you jobs.
Right.
You do get tax breaks because you're married. You know, you definitely get special types of loans when you're buying a house. So there are actually a lot of financial benefits. Yeah. But again, to your point, Kayleen, you are government property for that 4 years. But again, you do get a lot of financial benefits. But it's a catch to it's a stipulation to everything, not a catch. There's a stipulation to everything. The stipulation is you're government property for 4 years, and a lot of times they want you to continue in there. And you get trapped in that world. You get trapped, but the truth is there are actually a lot of financial benefits. If I'm being honest, free medical. You know, like I said, if you get married, they give you a lot of money towards buying properties. So there are actually a lot of financial benefits. But again, you're government property. So
exactly. Is that so? And then Certified Tyrone said, "Will paying off his loan too early affect his credit, or is there any detriment to paying off your school loans too early? Is there any detriment to paying off your loans early on your school loans?"
Not really a detriment. When it comes to student loans, the reality situation is the student loans really don't affect you heavily when it comes to credit and things of this nature. A lot of people think student loans really affect your debt when you're trying to buy a house, get a car. Honestly, student loan only about 1%, 1 to 5% of your debt is held against you, unlike all other credit cards and loans. So student debt actually doesn't hurt you as much. Okay. The problem is when you have student loans and those payments are killing you because you get out of college and you get a high paying job and you're making $100,000 a year. If you're one of those individuals, what then just happens is that now you're making that much money and your payments might be $600-700 a month. That's what hurts you. Right. But the reality of the situation is if you're fresh out of college and you're making $40K, they're only going to make you pay $200 a month, which still is a good amount of money. But the point is, at the end of the day, is that, you know, when it comes to student loans and student debt, no, it doesn't really help. It doesn't really hurt you. Don't pay off your loan. Why are you going to pay off $80,000 for it? You know, why are you going to pay off $80,000 for it? It doesn't make sense to pay off $80,000. It does not. You only have to pay a low payment. It does add up over time. It's good to not have any student debt, of course. But if you know how to maneuver, you can get your payments lowered all the time, actual recalculations. But of course, once you start making real money, that's when it really hurts you. When you start making 70, 80K a year, that's when you're like, hey, hold on. You can afford more than $200 a month. You can pay $400 or $500. That's when it's like, man, I got the student loan and I got a car payment for a student loan. That's when it hurts you.
You know what? I'm so glad that I never been one of these like drone ass niggas, bro. Mm-hmm. Because I went to college, right? I tried, and I was in an Ivy League school for like 3 semesters, right? Mm-hmm. And then after that, I went to a city college where shit was cheaper. And once I got to city college, I was paying my own tuition, and my parents paid off it was like 6 G's left on my Ivy League school that I went to, right? And then I dropped out of school and I paid off all my shit. And I never went to the army neither. You know what I'm saying? But it just it sounds like a lot of trickery. Like they just try it sounds weird when you said that just now, like, oh well, you making $80,000 now, you could afford to pay more. Right. Like, oh, so y'all gonna watch my income? So right after I get out of college, I gotta work at Amazon. But as soon as I get my job as a neurosurgeon, now y'all want to come at me for more money? Like, yo, who got the fucked up wind and shit? Let me see. Yeah, it's Kayleen. Yeah, so I'm so glad I was never a drone, bro. I'm glad I was always a free thinker and like always like deep down always wanted to make my money on my own. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I don't got no problem paying taxes and stuff. I understand, but it's like I don't like all of the I'm glad I'm not in no school debt, man. Because truth be told, man, a lot of these institutions of higher education, it's a fucking scam. Just like you said, Rashidi, where it's like the first 2 years, you pay him a premium for these classes, and you ain't learning shit.
Mm-hmm.
You ain't learning nothing, bro. I swear to God, I have yet to use, except for general conversation or using it to say some shit with like general life game. I haven't used anything from school, bro.
Right.
I haven't really used any fucking thing from school. I learned about fucking one thing I remember that I learned in economics was fucking supply and demand. And then I learned about, you know, the lower the interest rates, the better the economy, shit like that. But it's like I can't tell you that I remember anything that I learned in school where it's worth the $80,000 or some shit.
Right.
No. You know what I'm saying? And I'm glad I dropped out early because I swear I had 6 G's left on my first school. Now my mom was like, she's like, fuck all that. You know, because my mom promised me that she would pay off my shit, that she would pay for my college education. She promised me that. So when I left the expensive school, she paid that off for me. It was 6 G's left on the bill. And then when I went to city college, I was already working. I was already doing a vocation, and I was doing a vocation that I learned in high school, and I was paying my own bills. So I told my mom, I was like, you ain't even got to worry about this city college shit. This city college shit I got that. You know what I'm saying? I think it was like $1,600 for the entire year. So it was like $800 per semester. And and the job I had, I was, you know what's the advice, guys? Like these guys from RKT was saying, unless you have a plan for a particular career that literally requires a college education for it to make sense. Like, unless you have a plan for like to be a doctor or a lawyer, right? Or something that really requires college, you should probably focus on going to a specialized school that specializes in the profession that you want. Because let me tell you, when I was coming up, I learned computer aided drafting in high school as a vocation. You know, and that's the job that I had for up until 2017. That's what I was doing. And I was paying my bills lovely. I was making high 5 figures and I was paying my bills lovely. You know what I'm saying? And luckily I never had kids and nothing like that. Never got married, nothing like that. So I was straight, and I'm debt free. Like, I've been debt free pretty much my whole life. Yeah, nigga got a couple car notes and shit, but I'm debt free, like, overall. And any of those car notes, if push come to shove, I get rid of them shits. You feel me? Right. So it's like you want to choose the path in life where, unless it's absolutely necessary, you shouldn't be going into debt with these fucking, scamming ass institutions, man. Like, you got to know what the fuck you're doing. So student loans is cool, but nigga, if you could afford to go to DeVry and learn a trade in welding or AC repair or shit like that, just do that shit. Get a trucking job, or like figure out how to make your money on your own. Because getting in debt with these folks is it's kind of whack, man.
And to piggyback off what you said, Miles, the thing that a lot of people need to realize is that all these things are systems.
Yes,
so there's systems to follow. So once you get out of that system, if you don't know how to navigate out of that system, you can get lost. Exactly. And that's the problem. But to your point, Miles, that's why trades are a field where we know that they do what they want because they're not following an exact system. Exactly. Your mechanic, he tells you when he can get the car done based on his schedule. Things like that. Your electrician, he lets you know when he can get it done on his schedule. Right. The carpenter, contractor, they let you know when they get it done on their schedule. They're not following the traditional system. That's why it's good to go on your own and get life experiences. Right. These other systems are designed for you to follow them and to stay in place. Banks, it's a system when you're in the bank system. If you don't follow society's systems, it's one of those things where, then you run into trouble if you don't know how to navigate them. Now, if you learn how to navigate them by doing life experience and not rushing into things, you'll learn that these are systems that you don't have to follow. That's why we're saying don't just jump into college. Right. Go pick up a trade. And even if it's a trade, most trades only train you for like a year or two, and they depend on the experience. So it doesn't cost you that much money. It takes you about 1 to 2 years to learn this trade. And even if you don't like it, you still have this trade, but you don't owe all this money. And so you can just use it to get to where you need to be for the time being, and then actually figure out what you want to do afterwards.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. So any final thoughts on, or advice on what these guys could do as far as dealing with student loans, guys?
Yeah, I mean the final thoughts is don't get all this bunch of debt. If you're gonna go to college and you want to go to college and enjoy the fun experience, try to go to affordable college like a state college versus a private university or anything like that.
Or
you really should start with community college or a 2-year college just to get familiar with things. Because at the end of the day, you could transfer in your junior year and have the same fun that you would have had before. In fact, you'd have more freedoms as a junior in college versus a freshman and a sophomore, where they got all these rules and times you got to be in the dorms and you only be on this dorm and all that type of stuff. So take it easy, go to 2-year college, or if you're going to go to 4-year college, go to state college where it's way more affordable. Stop trying to go to California if you live in New York. Cut it out. They're going to charge you double just to travel and have some random fun.
Or at least have an auntie that live in the state you're trying to go to.
Exactly. There we go.
Like that's another little loophole. You got to have family that live in that state, establish residency and all that type of shit,
exactly.
Get them for you and that type of shit. Because like being in that type of debt is really fucked up, man. Imagine you trying to start your life, but you got to give a certain percentage of your check to some fucking institution that was scamming you for the first 2 years anyway. Like, you know what I mean?
You're below zero at that point. You're not even at zero. At least at zero, you could go up. You're not even at zero. My last advice, if you don't need to go to college, don't go.
Right.
Don't go.
Or the Army.
Don't go. It's in my opinion, it's a waste of time, especially in 2023. There's too many ways for young adults to make money online, right? Having your own business versus you going to college to go there for 2 to 4 years to get out to go work for somebody else to help them live their dream.
Yo, listen.
Yeah.
Real quick, there are companies out there. They're paying 70 to 90K to be remote customer service for their companies right now. Like ridiculous. But go ahead, Kate.
And I just concluded that if you're unsure, like if you have, like I said, if you have a direct goal,
right?
If you know you go into school, you want to be a lawyer, you want to be a doctor, by all means, continue. Do what you got to do, right? And get like as far as the loans and things of that nature, you want to try to kind of do your research and look at any and every program there is, so you can make school affordable for yourself. Exactly. If you are going for those type of fields, because when you get out of school, you'll be making the type of money that you need to make to have a sustainable living. However, if it's not a high-paying job that you're actually, or high-paying career that you're going for, don't waste your time. Yeah. Become an entrepreneur. Yeah, exactly. Be self-employed. Be independent, and own your own business. Yeah, that's my opinion.
All right, guys. So guys, that has been the Money Game Show, man. Make sure y'all go to www.rktappraisals.com or call 973-420-5028. And if you go to the website, rktappraisals.com, you can schedule a free consultation with Kaleem or Rashidi, where you could talk to them about credit repair. You could talk to them about budgeting, life insurance, real estate, paying off your loans faster, all this different type of stuff when it comes to finances, guys. So especially if you're a young cat just coming up and you're trying to figure things out, get a free consultation. Is free. It's not going to hurt. There's only information, and you never know. Like, they talk about, shout out to Gilly the Kid and Wallow. They talk about $1 million worth of game. Imagine finding out just a piece of simple information now that could save you millions or hundreds of thousands later on in your lifetime. You know what I'm saying? When we talk about retirement, we talk about generational wealth. We talk about savings. We talk about investing in mutual funds at an early age. We talk about getting life insurance policies at an early age. Because remember, life insurance has to do with your health and your age. So the younger you are, the more efficient all of these policies can be for you, because you're younger, you're healthier, and it puts you in position to retire and to be more comfortable financially in life for yourself and your loved ones. All right, guys. So again, call 973-420-5028 or go to rktappraisals.com. Get with Rashidi, get with Kaleem, and make it happen. That has been the Money Game Show, and we appreciate y'all once again for coming through. All right, and Lucario sends his wishes. He said he had to go get up in some, Lucario is getting up into some new shit. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to the big homie Lucario. All right.